Good morning. It is Wednesday morning. We have a beautiful day yet again today. Plenty of sunshine, a few clouds out there. A little bit of snow in the mountains over the last 24 hours, but not enough to really do much of anything. But we are headed for a bit of a warming trend. We had a frost advisory last night. That is going to drop this morning for Northern California. We've got a warming trend coming with temperatures getting back into the 80s, if you will. We'll talk about the 540 line. That's kind of one of those things people, if they want to impress you with how much weather they know, they talk about the 540 line, which I've always kind of had a love-hate with. It's simple, really. We'll look at a couple cameras, some new cameras we haven't seen before. We'll do a surf check as well. And we will, well, no, we won't. Well, the Emmy, a lot of consternation yesterday, not consternation, a lot of uproar yesterday about where's the Emmy? You moved the Emmy. Kind of got shoved to the side a little bit. I do struggle with the Emmy. It's a TV thing, and it meant to give me TV credibility, which is ironic because TV doesn't have the credibility it used to have. I don't think. I think everything's changing. The new media. But I want you to just, because otherwise I'm the least TV guy, right? I really am. I used to make a joke at Channel 2. I go, I'm the least celebrity. I'm a horrible, they're small. We're teeny celebrities, by the way. When I say celebrity, I'm like D-list celebrity. But I'm the worst TV, I'm the worst celebrity ever. If a minor celebrity ever. Only because, you know me. So anyway, but it's ironic, and that's why I put it there. I don't want it to seem like it's hubris, but yeah, that's why I put it there. It's ironic, yet iconic, yet, as one guy put it, it's a volleyball trophy, which I like too, because I did play volleyball a little bit. Okay, so here's everything going on across the country. Jet stream's going something like this. Something like this, like that, the jet stream. And you got heat in Texas. You've got raining out in parts of the Ohio, Mississippi Valley, and that's causing flooding. We'll get to that in a minute. But first things first, we're going to start with the computer model. We are headed for a warming trend. Temperature today in Redding will be 83. Temperature tomorrow in Redding will be 85. San Francisco today, 66. Tomorrow, San Francisco, 66. Chico, 86 today, 86 tomorrow. Sacramento, 85. LA, 71. And then San Diego, 67. Fresno, 86. So just some temperatures. Okay, so this is the GFS, broad brush model, but it's going to give you a real good idea what to expect. So as we go through the next few hours, few days, we're going to kind of warm up. The onshore wind increases. The black solid lines represent pressure gradient. When they get close together, they're kind of close together. That's a sea breeze right here. See that? Yeah, it's not really close together, but pretty close together. So that's a northwest wind or maybe even a westerly wind at 25 miles an hour or something. Pretty breezy. And then these dash lines are thicknesses. And this takes me to our next point about the 540 line, which is going to show up as we get this system. So it's steady as she goes until we get to Saturday morning. And on Saturday morning, this inside slider drops down. And when it does, it drops the dash lines, the thicknesses drop, so it's cooling, which makes sense. That's the jet stream dipping down. And you can see the chance of scattered showers, snow flurries around Lake Tahoe. Yet again, it would be a dry system because it's coming essentially off the continent. It's not coming, it's an inside slider. They're typically drier, colder air. And you see on Sunday morning, maybe more scattered snow flurries, light 1 to 2 inches, but unsettled cooler. So this weekend, a lot like last weekend. 540 line, what are you talking about, Bill? So this 540 line here, see it says it's 5,400 meters or 540 decameters. I haven't used metric in a while. So this represents the line. It's basically one of these thickness lines, right? Those are thicknesses, how they're dropping. Well, this is the line where you have your best opportunity to get snow. The air is cold enough that at 5,000 feet or so, you're going to get some snow to fall out. So that would indicate that Mount Shasta and places, up around Mount Lassen, some snow flurries, up around, higher elevations in Northeast California. So that's the 540 line. Now, oftentimes it gets thrown in like, oh, it's going to snow. When you see the 540 line, it's going to snow. In the winter and the summer, it's a little bit different, obviously, but it's never that simple. So when you look at the 540 line, it's the only solid thickness line. You go, you know what, there's freezing temperatures up at 8,000 feet or 6,000 feet. And that bears paying attention to, especially in the summer when you could get backpackers caught. So that is the 540 line. It's not magical. It's those thickness lines that you and I have been talking about forever, right? It's just a solid one representing the freezing, the opportunity for freezing in that air mass. And as we go forward, the inside slider moves on. The winds sort of kick up. That's a northeast wind. Looks like a warm up on Monday for the Bay Area. And then northwest winds and so on and so forth, so on and so forth. Nothing. Okay, so really, because I didn't want to go, if you get too far out and start buying everything, then it's hard to keep track of what's going on. What's going on is this week warms up, this weekend cools down. And these are the metrics involved. So here is the circle around us. Here is the ridge of high pressure building back into this week. And then you'll see this is that system, inside slider. That's what we just looked at on the surface. Now we're looking at it in the upper air. And remember this, that when you're on this side, there's the trough. When you're on this side of the trough, the right side, the dynamics are more aggressive. So the right front quadrant is where you got your best chance for rain, right in there. Little bit on the right upper quadrant, for sure, you got some dynamics, but not as strong. The lower right quadrant is going to be your best bet. So if you draw a line, you go boom, there's the middle line, and there's the right quadrant right there, right? There's the upper right quadrant. So with that in mind, this system's going to cool us down. And the models verify it out, up and high and low. And as we go through time next week, we warm up, we get a big warm up, and then we get these little drive-bys to the north. Drive-by. Just that sort of instability, the ridge flattens a little bit. That is going to give us perturbations in fog marine layer depth. So the fog will come back. Next week looks like a classic late spring, early summer pattern where the marine layer will stretch out, cool down, cool us down, compress, warm us up. It's going to do this, and this as those pulses go by to the north. So let me show you that one more time. So this is next week, but see how low the jet stream is right over Northern California and through Oregon? That's that's going to trigger we just forget the inversion, just talk onshore flow increases, decreases, and it's going to increase the onshore flow every time one of those goes by. Oversimplification, but it's how it works. Here are the forecast highs for today. As I mentioned, Fresno's going to go 86. 68 degrees in Yosemite. Lake Tahoe is going to just be in the low 60s, upper 50s. Ukiah 78 degrees, and then Monterey 63 degrees. That's today. This is tomorrow, warmer, but still the sea breeze. So it is springtime. Tree pollens, grass pollens, weed pollens, just going through the roof right now. If you know anybody who suffers, they're suffering. I'm suffering. But a hot tip, as I said before, is if you can take the medication at night before you go to bed. That's what I do. Big difference, because you wake up. Because the morning, my understanding is the mornings and the evenings are the worst for pollen. And so it's mornings and the late afternoons. I think in the mornings when the sun comes out, things just start to, right? So if you can wake up and you're already loaded up with histamines or histamine blockers, or I guess it would be blockers or inhibitors, you have a better opportunity. Okay, and then this is tomorrow, as I said, 87 in Redding, 87 in Chico, 85 in Sacramento. So a warmer day. Here is the national map, which is really nasty for heat. This is southern Texas down towards San Antonio, where the temperatures are in the low 100s, and they've got big humidity. So this is the forecast for today, the watches and warnings. Heat advisories, and again, heat's a bad one because it impacts, that's a lot of people. Millions of people live in this zone, right? Includes Dallas. And they're all going to be under a heat thing. And older people, younger people, pets, pre-existing condition folk, heat exacerbates everything. And then you add to that the humidity that's coming off the Gulf, right? You've got this moisture plume that's Gulf of California, pardon me, Gulf of Mexico. That moist air gets in there and makes the humidity horrible. This is red flag warning, New Mexico, Arizona, eastern Arizona, and parts of Texas. A little winter weather up around Idaho, Montana. Fog here, a little bit of fog here, and a little bit of fog here, fog advisories. And so just it's pretty active, but it's not like actively tornadic active, except in New York where you got, not tornadoes, but 64 degrees today and raining. Buffalo, 73 degrees and raining. Charlotte, 80 degrees, raining. Memphis, raining. So pretty good rain activity in this zone here. So yeah, and you can see the jet stream, right? Boom, boom, boom. Kind of not the best one, but something like this. Using the surface temperatures to figure out where the jet stream is. Which, when you do that, when you know where the jet stream is, you kind of know what's going on. You can basically predict the surface, I believe. I think so. Here is Steamer Lane, and the swells we got southwest swell, and we've got northwest swell, which is awesome. They're both low grade, kind of small, but when you get two swells working, you'll see one come around the point here. That's south, and then you'll see this, like that was a northwesterly swell. And then these guys are sitting here waiting for the south swell to come in. These guys are sitting here waiting for the north swell. So there's the south swell right there. See how it goes right by the guys here? And every once in a while a set will pulse through for these guys, and they will get a different swell, different direction too, different intervals. That's what's interesting about surfing. It's very complex in that you get different, you got different wavelengths, different heights, wave directions, and then intervals. So there's that's like when they first decided we're putting the Olympics. This is Halama, putting Olympics putting surfing in the Olympics. I'm like, wow, you are biting off a lot. That's why they're going to trussels, because they know that lowers is probably one of the most consistent ways. Like this is lowers right now. This is where the competition is going to be. It's the most consistent wave to pick up direction, to pick up a south swell, which in the Summer Olympics months will be pretty much going on. I mean, San Diego, you guys have had surf now for pretty much a bunch of days, a month straight. Just, south swells coming in. Is it an unreal? Yeah, it can be. Trussels can be really good. They're calling that 3 to 4 foot. And that you can't really tell that's south. Well, you could, but we're facing south, right? That way that the trussels faces. So it looks like it's coming in more westerly, but I believe this is probably looking towards the north over here. So this would be a northwest swell this way, and then a south swell would come in this way. So that's just roughing it out. So there you go. Yeah. And then this is, let me see if I can pull this up. This is Mount Shasta. This was this morning. Somebody was janking around with the cameras. We looked at this awesome shot early. This is this morning. And you see Black Butte covered in clouds. Isn't that beautiful? I think they got some controlled burns going on up there, so somebody thought it wise to move the camera, that's the beauty of these Alert Californias, is that you can pick out a fire, man. And the other day, it was funny because I thought, well, with these Alert Californias, this is Mount Lassen, these cameras, which are everywhere, Mount Lassen here, backside, we're from 6,000 feet, Stover Mountain. The cameras allow you to not have to have as many fire lookouts. They still do use people in the towers, though. When I was a kid, my dad, is funny because he was kind of a loner dude. He literally wanted to be a fire lookout guy. Like, he just wanted to, I go, that'd be cool. He goes, yeah. Dad, you had to go up there for like a month at a time and not talk to anybody. And you got to, blah, and in places like this. He goes, yeah, got it. I go, but you got kids, man. He goes, yeah, got it. Still want to be a fire. He's a veterinarian, but he goes, still want to be a fire watcher guy. So but they still man those, right? They still put people up in those towers, which I think is awesome. But you have all these cameras. Like if I show you these cameras, look at this. All right, those are all the cameras all around the state of California. Awesome. This is Halama again, Chumash Indian sacred land. This would be Diablo Canyon up here, the old nuclear power plant. And then this would be Vandenberg Air Force Base back in here. And this would be Halama Beach Park, kind of down right in there, as a matter of fact. And this is called Danger Mound, which I should know what that name means. I thought it was Dagger Mound. I think it's Dagger Mound. Anyway, a lot of Indian artifacts in this area. This is the tip of Point Conception, which is, like it's interesting. Like you got Tomales Point at Point Reyes, you got spots in Big Sur, and then you got Point Conception. Thinking of all these spots, there's some really kind of spots that even the Europeans deem magical or sacred, and those spots I just named were huge spots for the Native Americans in the day back in the day, and the Chumash were huge in this area, and they got relocated. The oil company Arco, Atlantic Richfield, Atlantic Richfield owned this land, and they kind of relocated them. I don't know how that all worked. And then the Atlantic Richfield Arco gave it to the state or the city or the county of Santa Barbara. And that's how Halama came to be. That's not the greatest history. I could have Googled it, but I didn't want to do that just then. This is Laguna Beach. This is a place a friend of mine lives here. I jump on my bike right down in this canyon, right up this hill, and go right to that bench, and sometimes crack a beer when I'm there because it's so pretty. Laguna Beach is beautiful, and it is the population there is a density because it's everybody wants to be by the water. But all you got to do, you can see once you go back behind the houses, you can walk trails all the way to Irvine. Easy. It's just open space, basically. So Laguna today is going to go 68 degrees. We go up to the Lake Tahoe. This is Heavenly Valley. I don't think they're skiing up there. It looks good though, doesn't it? This is live picture. I'd love it if somebody skied by, but I don't see any tracks or anything, right? So beautiful day. Few clouds still lingering. Temperatures today, like I said, are going to warm. It's going to get back into the Mammoth Mountain. It's going to get back into the upper 50s and even low 60s. Mammoth camera is awesome because it's like giving your 5-year-old kid the keys to the car, the 3-year-old kid, because the camera moves a lot. Mammoth's awesome. Mammoth was named after the Mammoth Mining Company. I always thought it was Mammoth, like, oh, hey, we found some mammoth bones, which was always a possibility. Maybe they did. But it was actually named after maybe the Mammoth Mining Company. Maybe the Mammoth Mining Company found mammoth bones and then named them their mining company, Mammoth. I never thought about that. That's possible. But that's how Mammoth got its name. Everything in California has been mined, as you know. So a lot of these early names do, sadly, the Native American component names a lot of them got lost, really sadly. But the old engineering or the old mining and logging industries really put a stamp on the area. Yeah, they're skiing up at Mammoth for sure. These tracks are awesome. These things, they're like little tracks, right? Like a flow track in mountain biking. They're all the rage right now, and they are pretty fun. And their most fun is when it's not icy because they're off camber turns. What's most fun is when they're not icy, when they're still, when they get slushy, soft, because then you can just, right? Because if it's icy, you get going too fast. And at my age, going too fast ain't cool. This is last night. This is Big Bear Lake. And I bring this up because I want you to see how many houses or homes and people. I had no idea. Like I've never been up there. I'll be honest with you, just with this camera. But if you live in LA, Los Angeles, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, and by the way, do you call it LA or do you call it Los Angeles? I always wonder that because we hate Frisco and we hate San Fran. I wonder if you guys hate LA or SoCal. I like NorCal, and it's funny how they're. I mean, it's visceral. Like my friends out in the avenues, the guys I surf with. You call it Frisco, you're not coming back, or San Fran. It's weird. This is like I said, Big Bear Lake. Let's see if I can put some kind of a loop on today, see if it works. There it is. That's this afternoon. The birds are right here, and we're going to go see them. A little bit of wind, a couple boats on the lake, and now you can see, I can clearly see all the buildings now. Why didn't I see them before? Maybe it's just the weather. Okay, so, and then we'll look at the birds, which is really why we're here at this point. Do me a favor. Oh, good morning. They are so ready to fly. So ready to fly. I must be weird being them, only because you're like, you're $140 up in a tree, and you instinctively you know you gotta fly, and it's a long way down. Maybe they just have zero fear, like they just know, like it's like a little kid when he starts to crawl. I'm sure that first, I would love. Wouldn't that be awesome to see their first flight? I think the chance. I'm sure the camera will catch it, and then we'll be able to see it. But that would be awesome. Look at the size of the feet on that. Wow. All right. These are the birds. This is the week. Have a good day. Tell a friend if you can. Don't ruin friendships because of it. Don't go, oh, this Bill Gahan. Stop everything. Look at your phone. Go subscribe. That's weird. And I would hate it if you did that. But just tell a friend if you can. And then like, comment. Comments help a lot, only because what's happened here is there's a fair amount of you that are pretty outdoorsy. I know just enough to be dangerous. Like I can put stuff out there and I kind of know whatever. I know some stuff. But it turns out as we all reach a certain age, we all know some stuff, right? Especially when you get past 50. And so a lot of the stuff I get from you guys, I've learned, actually I learned a lot from you guys because I try to read all the comments, and there's a lot of good input. And sometimes anecdotal input is the best because again, I come from a science background, got all the stuff, but I also know how science can be rigid and not sometimes dynamic and fluid, whereas somebody who's up in Sierraville can say, yeah, I think I saw a wolf up here the other day, but I'm not sure. It could have been a coyote. And then I saw the same thing and blah, blah, blah. And you kind of go, and even though the scientists haven't discovered that there's a wolf in Sierraville, this farmer who lives out there day in and day out, who's tied to the land. So there's this sort of communal fiesta of ideas that come in. And again, when you live to be a certain age, you've seen a lot. And like when I talk to my dad, he's 98. It's awesome. It's awesome talking to him because he's lost a few steps for sure. But when you can get him on the right plane, that right level, it's awesome. Okay, I will see you back here tomorrow.